everyone, thanks for joining me. This is Connie. I had some questions about what kind of tools I use for my paper piecing. So I'm going to go through that and I'll share a couple things with shading and stuff, how I do it. You might be very surprised. I use actually very few tools. I just use what I have and improvise a lot where I need. But I'm going to go ahead and get started. I will try to leave links to what I have. The first thing is, and these are really nice, the Brushstix. Apologize if there's going to be a lot of glare. I'm so sorry. These I got from, I think it was Artistic Artifacts. I think that's the name, and I think they might have them on Amazon now. I'll leave the link to where I got them from. There's a set of, I think there were 3. Nope, there's 4 in this set, or is it 3? My pointed one is probably worn down that much. Nope, there's 3 different tips, so yes, my pointed one is worn down quite a bit. This is what the pointed one is at what I have now. It's the domed one that's real pointed on the end, and then get that out of the way so it's not glaring too bad. There's a rounded, like a domed tip. So those are the 2 I pretty much use, and I'll show you what I do with highlighting for that because I had some questions about that. I'm going to share some ideas on how I ink, so that's why that's laying there. I use some kind of tweezers, either offset or just the regular style tweezers. My rubber grips are gone. I don't know where they ended up. I have some crocodile tools the pom-poms go on. I'm not sure what size pom-pom this is. It's a little bit larger. I use it for blush. I have a smaller size too that I'm going to switch back to. That's kind of large, but I also use, if I can see on the end of that, the 5mm. I use 5mm pom-poms a lot with inking to get into small areas. So these are really nice. This one, I know because of the handle, this came with my Pebbles chalk set. This one, and I think I've got another one. These are handmade. I don't really recommend them just because not as easy to get the clip in, the crocodile clip, I call them alligator clips, crocodile clips, whatever, in as you think into the dowel stick. So, but I didn't make them, so I just was there and it wasn't a good evening. Then I have the 2 black types of pens I use. I use the Pilot Precision V5 Extra Fine in black. This I don't use right out of the box. I bought, it's like a box of 10 or whatever it was quite a while ago. I don't use them right away for paper piecing. I use them just every day to write for a while, so they're not brand new. They tend to leak a little bit if I do, so I want them to be used a little bit. This is my favorite. This is the Micron. I've got the 02. I don't know what other people use. This is very fine. This is fine enough for me. If I have a very tiny piece, I like this. Yeah, these are really nice, and I think you can get these pretty much anywhere. You know, I'm not complaining when I say this, don't get me wrong. I'm just stating the fact. I can't get out to shop. It's just the way life is anymore. So I order a lot of things. I think Joann's and probably Hobby Lobby have them though. If you order, I don't remember where I ordered mine from. Possibly Amazon, but I don't know. I ordered too much stuff. So, okay. Then I have this very fine eraser. I was using the, you can get the larger pencil erasers. They look like mechanical pencils, and they have the long eraser stick. I was using those, but they are a little bit thicker, and I was gifted this several years ago, and I love it. I didn't know, again, that there was such a thing. But this is a Tombow Mono Zero Elastomer Eraser. I'm sure the camera, you can't see that very well, but yeah, that is a wonderful thing. So, and I'm actually still, I've got several refills. I'm still on my first eraser piece that came in there. I still haven't filled it. I haven't had to. So the other thing is, of course, I use a Jelly Roll pen. This is a 08. Depending on the piece, I may use a 10. They also have a 05, but it is very fine. And I have found if this doesn't work real well for you, wet just the tip. And when I say wet, put it in like a damp rag or towel or something. Don't actually put it under water and get it wet. But it seems like if the tip dries out, they don't want to do the thing. So yeah, that's what I've found. My next tool, I don't know what they're called. I will put a link to the Amazon link. There's some kind of eyeliner or eyelash tool, I'm not sure. This is what I use to do my eyes. I use my chalk. I put for my eyes on my pieces. I have used it with ink to, if I want to, let's say, highlight like when I was doing my ghosts and I was highlighting the curves and stuff, I used ink. Now I don't have any chalk really on here, it's just too much. But I would use some, instead of chalk, I was using ink. But let me show you here. I've got some ink out. I'll just show you what I use for inks. I use Stampin' Up. I've got the older, mostly older. I have some close to my heart. I like that really well too. But I use dye-based inks for the majority of my pieces. I prefer that over Distress ink, just of the way it goes with your paper. So it just reacts better to paper for me. That's my point. Or I like my Distress inks for other things, but it's not for paper piecing. This is, I've got ink on here now, and this is not the best example, but this is how I would use to get some of my pieces, or chalk, either one. And then, speaking of inking, I use finger daubers. Otherwise, I will use my pom-poms, my 5mm pom-poms. I also use, for highlighting, pan pastels. This is black, titanium white. I have burnt sienna shade, and I have some pearlescent red. This is rather pink, and it does have a shimmer to it. So, and then I've got different kinds of stuck here with everything, different kinds of chalks. I've got a couple different kinds of chalks. If you have pebbles, they're good. You could probably pick them up, I think, on eBay. There's not a big thing on that, what you use. So that's pretty much it for my tools. I'm sorry it's not a lot. I don't know. I have never used a lot of tools. I picked up some, as I said, as I've gone. But, I was going to show you, there's a few different glues that I've tried. I've used art glitter glue, and then I use now, someone had mentioned reptile glue. This was before the Barely Art glitter glue came out. I believe we're about the same time. I'm not sure. This is basically the same consistency of art glitter glue and what I've heard of Barely Art glue. I've not used that yet. This just doesn't dry quite as fast as the art glitter glue. Either one are very good. I just put this in a refill bottle, which it needs to be filled, as you can maybe see, but and then this has the fine tip on it. So adhesive is truly a personal thing. So this is the fine tip I have and can never see with the lights to get the lid on. So again, I use the reptile glue, and then I'm going to quick show you a couple of things that I do with inking. And I always have a scratch piece of paper. I use a lot of junk mail, or the envelopes, whatever. It just what I've done for years. So this is a piece of scrap paper when I was from last year tutoring. So okay, I'm gonna go ahead and show you a couple things of how I ink and chalk, or ink my edges and highlight. So this is a clean sponge dauber, even though it's they're usually white on the top. I'm trying to think this morning. I was thinking this earlier and I couldn't come up with the words. I wash mine from time to time. I just throw them in a bucket, and when I want to use them again, I just put them on the paper, see what color it is, and it's good. But what I start with is this ink pad is somewhat wet, not terribly, but the other one is worse yet, it's drier yet. But I start, and I've just learned to push it into the ink pad, you know, instead of tapping on it. I get better luck. And then I tap off into my lid, and I should have cleaned the lid out. So you can see just little dot there right here. It looks like it's got a lot of ink on it. I'm not 100% sure, so I still tap on my paper right here. Then I kind of know. The less ink I have on here, for me, the better. I'll add more if I need, but I prefer just a drier sponge. And I'll try and show you a little bit here in a minute, the difference. I pretty much, my first layer, and pretty much straight up and down. And it may not look like I'm getting a lot on. And I can pick up from here. I always still come off, and okay, so I'm gonna leave it like this for a minute, and I'm gonna show you, and I forgot to get another sponge, so bear with me a moment. I go through a lot of scratch paper. It's crazy. I keep my clean sponges in just a Ziploc bag. Okay, so now this ink pad doesn't have near as much ink on it, so it looks like it in the lid, but once you start using it, it really isn't as much as it looks like. So I'm just going to show you now. I'm pretty much at more of a, what is it, a 90, not quite a 90-degree angle. So there you get the contrast of colors, okay? I'm going to come back with, sorry, I like to keep my ink pads closed. I don't know why I ever learned that. I'm not going to dip it off right now. I'm just going to move over and show you how much darker it is now. And these do dry, you know, lighter, so, but there you have, and I like it a more subtle shade, so it's really what you want for colors, okay? I start with the shade that's about the same color, because now when I ink my edges, it gets even darker, okay? So this is the darker side on the right, the lighter side on the left. I use, like I said, colors that are closer to my paper than not. So last thing I'm going to quick show you, someone asked me about highlighting, and I'll just use that on this. I just, excuse my reach, I apologize, put everything up, and so, oh, my scratch paper again. I use my pan pastels. I quite often use the one that was more pointed. If it's a bigger area, the domed one works good, but I just tap it in my pan pastels. I've dropped, unfortunately, my pan pastels a couple times. That's where they're flaky. So yeah, they do break down easy. I have a tendency to just use my hand to do this. Sometimes I'll put it on the paper. I just go in like a circular motion, but I use, even this is quite heavy-handed, but I just go as light as I can with my chalky or my sponge tool here. I don't know if you can see, there's some on here versus none over here. I think the camera picks it up a lot better. You don't need a whole lot. It's just, you know, just to kind of put it on there. If you get too much, the beauty of the chalk is erase it, start over. It works wonderful. It's that's what I like about chalks. But that's the video for today. Nothing too spectacular, but I just wanted to come on and share with you how I do this. I'll be hopefully in the next couple of days getting the video up for the fall treat boxes and stuff that I have done. So I want to thank you all for joining me. Have an awesome day. Take care.